Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for attending the Public Facilities, Arts, and Culture meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. I do detect a quorum, and I know we do have a public comment. I don't know if there's anyone signed up, but pursuant to Tennessee Public Chapter number 300, time is reserved for public comment on legislative items appearing on this committee agenda. Each speaker is allowed up to 2 minutes to speak. Speakers may register in advance on the Metro Council public comment sign-up page on nashville.gov. I don't think we had anyone to sign up, so we're going to move forward with our resolutions. RS 2023-2318, Henderson, Roten, Hurt, Welch, accepts an in-kind grant from the Friends of Warner Parks to the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation to provide funding for the next phase of improvements in Warner Parks. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Councilmember Henderson? Nothing to add.
It's partnership
Wow.
with friends. Yep. Hello.
Well, that's a good thing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. RS 2023-2319, Roten, Hurt, Welsh, accepts an in-kind grant from Creative Parks Nashville to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to provide equipment for the support and expansion of the Music and Visual Arts program at the Centennial Performing Arts Center and Metro Parks Community Center. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions? Yes.
Just real quickly, Creative Parks Nashville, who is that? Who's it funded by? I just wanted to understand. That's not an organization I'd heard of before. Can anybody just share?
It's one of the Friends groups.
One of the what group?
Friends groups.
Okay. But it's Friends Group by whom, for what purpose?
To support the creative arts for whatever reason. I mean, I don't know by whom, but it's one of the Friends groups that is like Friends of Warner, Friends of Fort Negley. It's just one of the Friends groups to support the creative arts.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. We've got friends groups that are specific to certain parks, and then we have the Parks Foundation. And so I understood under the Parks Foundation, we might have certain thematic efforts. And so when was this organization started?
I have no idea. I don't have that information with me.
Well, I think it's a bona fide organization for parks, and it is one that is focused on the visual arts, the music and visual arts programs that we need specifically at Centennial and other Metro Parks community centers, which is really, really important. So I think that it is much more important that we do have an organization that is reaching all of the parks when it comes to music and visual arts. So, are there any other questions or any other discussion?
If staff could just get me the answer to the questions that I asked, please, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, again, she said that she wasn't sure how it was formed and when it was formed.
I mean, they have the information. I haven't had it.
Councilwoman Hurt, we're moving along. I'm
Just
just asking for answers to my questions.
Just a second, Councilmember Henderson, I understand that. Ms. White, would you continue, please?
I was just saying, with me being not a long-term employee, of course, we don't have all the history with us here.
Right.
If we had known that would have been a question, we would have been prepared to answer the question as to how long and when they were formed. We do have that information.
Okay, so if you could get that information to us, and we can then have it disseminated to the rest of the community, rest of the committee after this meeting. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. RS 2023-2320, Roden, Hurt, Welsh, and others, accepts an in-kind grant from the Nashville Food Project to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation for a series of infrastructure projects at Mill Ridge Park, including a pole barn, apiary installation, water catchment station, community garden plots, and other site improvements. There a motion?
So moved.
Any,
Second.
thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. RS 2023-2321 Taylor Road and Hurd accepts an in-kind grant from Vanderbilt University to the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation to replace the current video board at the Centennial Sportsplex. It has been moved to withdraw this. May I have a motion?
We have to have a motion.
I don't? Okay. Well, it has been removed and withdrawn. It was originally withdrawn.
Was there a reason for the withdrawal? Was it a delay in the donation or something?
No, I don't think it was a delay in the donation. I just received a letter from the director of Parks saying that they were asking for it to be removed at this time. We are on bills on second reading, BL 2023-1882. O'Connell, Welsh, Allen, and others creates Chapter 2.153 of the Metropolitan Code establishing a bicycle and pedestrian advisory commission. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. I thought I saw Councilmember Allen. So I know we had a lengthy discussion in our transportation infrastructure. You want to give a summary in here, please?
Yes, very briefly. So, this bill in general puts the BPAC back together, which I am very supportive of. As a member of the Greenways Commission, there are a number of council members on the Greenways Commission. I was just asked to facilitate a meeting so that the Greenways Commission could have their own comments on this, because Greenways are specifically called out. It just took a while to do that, and so it has taken until last Friday to get a group of people together to talk about just some changes to the language that was input provided by the Greenways Commission. And that group didn't actually officially meet as a Greenways Commission until Monday, so that's why there's also a late filed amendment as well. But in general, it does four things. One, it specifically sets aside a place on the board, on the newly formed commission for someone representing Greenways and someone representing Walk Bike Nashville, because those are kind of the two premier nonprofits that are already advocates sort of within their own lanes. And the purpose of this is to be an umbrella organization, which I think is great. It also changes one of the duties of the board simply to open the language up a little more or a little less specifically to ensure that the discussion about where micromobility fits on greenways is not something that needs to be settled by the language in this legislation. And micromobility, as defined in here, taken straight from the state definition, includes both man-powered bicycles and some electrical-powered things. And that's a discussion that we're still having. So that change in the language simply just gets rid of any assumptions that I think we're not quite ready to make. And then it also, and this was part of the discussion in Public Works, was change the language from the duties of the responsibilities of the BPAC were to, rather than provide guidance, was to serve as a resource to the mayor and the council and departments as they talk about both shared mobility and planning. That is changed in two different places. And then finally, there was a change, again, based on comments with the Planning Commission and others, changing the language from the BPAC shall work with the departments and that the departments shall work cooperatively with the B-Cycle, which they should, and shall provide assistance as requested by the BPAC. There was just some concern that shall language, which is very, very strong regulatory language, was not necessarily reflective of how commissions work with departments. And just to flip it around and say the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission shall work cooperatively with and may request assistance from departments, boards, and commissions. And in general, they have all been very willing to provide that assistance. So I don't think it affects what actually happens. It just, shall language should be used very carefully. And then we added the definitions for micromobility from the state, both from state language that we've already adopted and also from within the Metro Code. There's a late filed amendment that would also add the official definition of greenways from the Metro Code. But that's not part of this one. So, longer explanation than I was supposed to give, sorry.
And you did not want to, you don't have to move the late substitute based on the outcome of this.
Yeah,
vote?
I'm not even getting to that one yet. So
Okay.
right now, we're just talking about this
Right.
particular.
Okay, so we've heard the explanation of the amendment. Are there any discussions, any questions? Councilmember Henderson?
Council Lady Allen, so you thought the shall language was maybe too strong or inappropriate, but it's still shall language, or
Well,
I just,
the shall
I
language
apologize, I
was-
have not seen it side by side,
Thank
so.
you, no, I appreciate
yeah.
that. I did try to underline and highlight and underscore things and strike through them. It changes the shall language from what the departments shall do to what the BPAC shall do, which is just the BPAC will work cooperatively with the departments and will be able to request assistance for them, as opposed to saying all the departments shall provide whatever the BPAC asks for, which I'd love to be able to do that. But it just takes the burden off of the departments to be at the beck and call of a single commission. And that was partly from checking with other people and saying, is this language consistent with what we usually have for commissions? And it seemed more appropriate to flip it around.
Okay, any other
But
questions?
the intention is not to diminish what the BPAC is able to do, just to be sure that we're not giving them authority that we're not in a space to actually be able to do.
Right. Any other questions or comments?
That's very helpful.
I guess my other question comes specifically about Greenways Commission. Council Lady Allen, what is your, I've had some concern over time that I did not get to articulate in transportation and infrastructure because of the storm. But we have a Traffic and Parking Commission, we have a Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, we had a Bicycle and Pedestrian Advocacy Committee, now we're making this a commission, we've got a Greenways Commission. We have a whole lot of things intersecting with each other. And like you, I do support specifically a BPAC because I think what you've seen is, Councilman O'Connell and I served on what was alternately called a steering committee, an advisory committee, a task force for Vision Zero. And it seemed like as this BPAC effort rose, it was kind of like we tried to make Vision Zero be all the things, right? And so that the Vision Zero committee is kind of trying to be the BPAC slash, and so I guess, I am somewhat flummoxed because I do support this, but I do feel like, and we hear from the public a fair amount, and I concur, because we took it up through charter committee, right? Like, we have all these boards and commissions established by charter. Then we have all these boards and commissions established by code. And sometimes they're kind of doing this with each other. So I think, what I'm hearing from folks is, yay, absolutely a strong voice for bike ped advocates and restoring that. But can you express, particularly because this is about parks and Greenways Commission, how you would anticipate that they would work together? I mean, do you think just by having someone from the Greenways Commission serve on the BPAC, that just checks a box? Or how do you see them interacting with each other?
So, great question, and thank you for bringing that up. I mean, there was a lot of discussion with the Vision Zero and the BPAC folks to sort of figure out whose lanes were what, and what are people doing uniquely that is their specific thing, and what are the things that they would be working together on. And I think that's the whole purpose of the BPAC, is to take passionate advocate groups that are doing some of their unique things and some things that overlap, which includes the greenways. We're looking at greenways and how people recreate on them and how they move on them, and how we ensure that both of those spaces are available for both of those two different needs. And Vision Zero is looking at how we ensure that our streets are safe and that we're looking at the high entry networks. And Walk Bike Nashville is looking at slightly different stuff, but together, with having all three of them, with them represented, and ensuring at every planning process and when they're dealing with the mayor, that there's a group that is hearing from all those different pieces. I mean, I think the umbrella-ness of it is what's important. And I think Greenways just wanted the opportunity to have input as one of the important parts of that three-legged stool. Actually, it's a multi-legged stool.
And then can you clarify, is it one position for Greenways for Nashville and one position for Greenways
That is correct.
Commission? And so then it's just one position for Walk Bike Nashville?
There's one from, no, I'm sorry, the nonprofit organizations will be the voting members. The departments and you can't,
Right.
right, so it's just Greenways for Nashville, I'm sorry, it's just Greenways for Nashville and Walk Bike Nashville are the two.
Okay, so there's a cross representative of the Greenways Commission, but they are a non-voting member?
As a Parks, Parks can choose who they send.
Okay.
Any other questions? There being none, all in favor? Any opposed?
No.
I'm gonna abstain on that one.
2 against, 1 abstention, and 4 in favor? And
And the late filed amendment, again, because the group was not able to meet until Monday, and then to get in, there were just a few more tweaks that were added. One was to add the definition of greenways, because we have the definitions of micromobility in there, and then also to add another recital that just simply acknowledges that there is park policy that deals with some of these types of transportation on greenways, and just simply to get that statement included in this.
okay. Any objections to the late filed amendment? So all in favor? Thank you very much.
I'm abstaining on that one as well, please.
I appreciate the discussion.
Okay, and the late substitute,
This is enough.
okay, great. Thank you so very much. BL 2023-2012, Sledge Road and Withers Hurt. Approved
Wait,
3.
Vote on the,
We haven't voted on this.
Oh, I'm sorry. So for the bill itself, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
abstaining.
Thank you very much. BL 2023-2012, Sledge Road and Withers Hurt, approves 3 agreements relating to the acquisition of a parcel of property and improvements located at 607 Bass Street. We have a letter from Councilmember Sledge asking for approval. May I have a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions or discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. BL 2023-2013, Henderson Road and Withers Hurt, approves and authorizes the Director of Public Property Administration to accept a donation of real property consisting of approximately .53 acres located at 7166 Highway 100 to increase parkland for Edwin Warner Park.
Motion.
Thank you. It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussions?
Thank you to our partners for expanding the Birch Reserve.
Thank you. All in favor? 0 against. Thank you all very much. BL 2023-2014, Henderson Road and Withers Hurt, approves and authorizes the Director of Public Property Administration to accept a donation of real property consisting of approximately 7.81 acres located at 7156 Highway 100 to increase parkland for Edwin Warner Park. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. BL 2023, 2015, Henderson Road and Withers and others, also approves and authorizes Director of Public Property Administration to accept a donation of real property consisting of 13.18 acres located at 6949 Highway 70 South to increase parkland for conservation of open space and local flora and fauna. Is there a motion?
moved.
Second. Been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, discussion?
I
All
just
in
like the
favor?
phrase floor of fauna.
Laura and Donna, you always love when you got that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. BL 2023-2016, Roden Hurt Welsh approves the First Amendment to an agreement between the Metropolitan Government of Nashville Steam Preservation Society for the lease and restoration of steam locomotive number 576. May I have a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Is this just an extension of what was already underway? Is that what's going on?
Okay.
And how long is Councilman Syracuse, I know you were a part of that. project somewhat, or maybe still are? What's the status on that?
I'm on the advisory board, yeah, I would say, gosh, it was about 80% done or so, where's Tim? Oh, there's, yeah, roughly around, yeah. And then we're trying to find him a permanent home, too. So, we're working on it. Yeah, it's exciting.
You can put that at Amway Station.
They were talking about putting it at the Hermitage out there in Old Hickory.
Okay. Any more questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. BL 2023-2017 Withers Road and Hurd approves an agreement between the Metropolitan Government and Tennessee Golf Foundation concerning the renovation of 2 golf courses in Shelby Park. Is there a motion?
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussions or questions?
Just a quick question. If someone from Parks, is there any Metro match, or is this all the funding coming directly from the Golf Foundation?
All the funding is coming from the mayor's office. The grant is coming from the mayor's office, and if there is any necessary additional funding to complete the project, the Tennessee Golf Foundation is going to provide that.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I do have questions. I guess my question was, is Mr. Wilcox still here? Hello, Sam.
Working behind you.
Yeah, and so I really am grateful for the Tennessee Golf Foundation partnership colleagues, because they are assisting us over at the Warner Parks 9-hole as well. And that's been a really important partnership, but I would say, just for y'all's awareness, because this is often a problem in Metro, internal to the footprint of the golf course, that's been great, but trying to get the associated roadside, roadway, ingress, egress, stormwater, boundary, all that kind of stuff, despite my best efforts in trying to work with this administration over like 3 or 4 years, those are not tracking together. So what we have is a really great partner in Tennessee Golf Foundation getting ready to cut a ribbon on a joint asset, right? And we are gonna have, a just janky, messy looking roadside. We haven't solved the stormwater problems. This administration did not advance the NDOT improvement that I thought was gonna be in the capital spending plan, and instead turned it into a study. So despite years of trying to get, project alignment and departmental alignment for fiscal prudence to line these things up, here we are. And so what's frustrating to me is that here we go on another golf course, which is awesome. I'm excited for Shelby Park. And I just, I feel like the mayor's office is having meetings about doing things at golf courses, not including council members. And then, here we go on the next one, and we have not done right by the current one that we're also partnering with the Tennessee Golf Foundation. So I'm just hoping, Mr. Wilcox, for an update from you on the other golf course that we're partnering with Tennessee Golf Foundation and where we are on those associated capital improvements.
This is for Percy Warner.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the study is in flight right now. I don't have an update for you on the other improvements that you mentioned. Mike, I don't know if you've got anything more than that.
Okay.
But happy to look into it and get back to you on that.
So I've spoken with the mayor several times. This wonderful benefactor and donor is gonna come out and cut the ribbon on this golf course. And the whole boundary, the wayfinding, the roadway, the stormwater, it's going to be a mess. So whatever we need to do to get that moving, because I've been kind of crawling across glass and spinning plates for about 3 years on it, I would be grateful.
Well, I appreciate that, Councilmember Henderson. I too was concerned that there was a lack of communication in regards to this project, but after being in the Parks Board meeting and discussion with the director of Tennessee Golf Foundation, and with the meeting we had in discussion in Budget and Finance yesterday, I feel good about this, and I do know that it is a great partnership. And
I'm just asking this administration to do right by the first partnership and finish that up the right way before we look at the next kind of awesome shiny disco ball thing that we're gonna be paying attention to.
right,
okay?
and I think it's good for them to communicate with the council members. I think that's been a total neglect. So I appreciate that. Are there any other discussions or comments in regards to this?
In light of that, I'd like to hear from Councilmember Withers about communication regarding this item.
Thank you, Councilmember Van Rees. I will say that when I took office, Shelby Park was in very, very bad shape from the standpoint of not just road pavement being bad, but bridges being in very bad shape. We had a Greenway bridge that was ready to collapse because the embankments were bad in it. But there were just a lot of things like that. It's a very heavily used space. It was getting to a point where it was becoming dangerous for the public to use the park in any mode of transportation, whether you were walking, biking, jogging, didn't matter. And so had worked with the prior administration to get some funding in place. At that time, Public Works would not do roads and parks, for instance. So that was something we had started working on. Mayor Cooper, I will say, has been a great champion for Shelby Park as a whole in moving a lot of those things forward, as well as has been very interested in the golf course specifically, especially because of it's historic, it's coming up on its 100th year. And so Mayor Cooper has worked very diligently to fund a lot of those basic infrastructure repairs. We do continue to have, every time there's a storm, we lose trees in Shelby Park. It's heartbreaking. We keep planting more, but every time we probably lost trees in Shelby Park today. We had a lightning strike to a beautiful oak tree in the dog park. Like every single time it storms, we have damage to Shelby Park, which is tragic. But this is another opportunity that the administration has worked to try to get some additional repairs to the golf course, to both golf courses, including Vinnie Links, which I think is actually used by a lot of young people in the community for the First Tee program. So I definitely understand your concern about it in your area. I think the administration, both from Mayor Cooper's office as well as from Director Odom's standpoint, I think we've gotten into a much better place. Obviously, we had the incident where we finally repaved the roads in Shelby Park and people started speeding, and I appreciate your assistance in escalating the need to get speed bumps on that street. That was very helpful to get more eyes and attention on that. But I think overall we're in a much better place now for Shelby Park, not only for having gotten more work done, but we're having, I think, a lot more collaboration between departments overall than we did before, and I think with council as well. So I'm excited to have this additional funding to get some needed repairs to the golf course.
Thank you, Councilmember Withers. Any other discussions, comments, or questions? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, thank you very much. This is our meeting. Thank you.